Hey everybody, my name is Owen McGregor and welcome to today's video. Guys, I'm speaking to Andy Edwards, who owns CrossFit Dragon Athletic. He's a CrossFit Games Coach and he also is on the CrossFit training staff. We're going to be speaking about what happened to his gym, which is based in Wales during COVID-19, what it's like actually opening up a new facility during these times, and also he coaches various CrossFit Games athletes who are preparing for the games this year, what it's like coaching them and what changes they had to make to their training itself. So enjoy this video. As you can see guys, only about 20% of people who watch my videos subscribe, so if you can, please hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, give the video a like, drop it a comment. Alright guys, who do we have here and what gym do you own?
My name's Andy Edwards and I own Dragon Athletic in South Wales, the Dragon CrossFit affiliate.
Thanks Andy much for joining, really appreciate it. Andy, give us an idea of actually what's actually happening over in Wales. So when did you guys close your gym and what kind of procedure did you kind of follow?
So over our end, we basically had to close on the 20th of March. On the 20th of March, then we went online. That's the best thing I can say. We've been closed since then. So Boris Johnson made the announcement on the evening of the 19th. On the 20th, I sent out a video message to the members just saying, hey, what we're going to do, and again, this is very different to any of the other gyms. What we're going to do is that we're going to drop our price down to £30 a month. Okay, so that's a blanket cover of everyone. If you are in a financial situation that you could pay that, then great. Please continue to do so. If you can't, let us know and we'll sort something out. And then basically for that, we developed our online side, which fundamentally is 2 Zoom classes every day. So at 7:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. And then we produce a program or schedule of workouts, and we have been doing so since that point. Meant that I had to get good on video editing on the phone, so I've been doing a couple of videos, and that it's good to see, you know, that progress for my own I guess development. It's still fairly basic. I'm not going to be shooting any blockbuster movies anytime soon, but at least it gets into that. But I haven't done as much as I've wanted to because of, as we were speaking just before we started going live, I guess, in terms of the transition, i.e. I'm moving from one location to another location. So, that's developed over the last couple of months, last 10 weeks. So we do one live a week now. So that's more of for anyone that wants to see what we do at Dragon Athletic in regards to the type of programming, that's bodyweight focus. We generally do that on a Tuesday evening. And then, it seems to be, you know, we're ticking over, you know, we're not in the worst case scenario, but obviously, you know, it's not the best case scenario either.
Savage. And like in terms of the members, like let's say when you drop the prices and stuff like that, which seems obviously very good for them, did you get much support off them? And like, how do they react to like training at home rather than not being in the physical facility with yourself?
The members have been great. You know, those that have been able to support and continue to support, we're very lucky. We're very blessed. In terms of training at home, I think some of them have actually really enjoyed the whole process because it means that they can train more. But on the flip side of that, I mean, there's some people who go and stir crazy because they haven't left home. They're doing all the training at home. They live on their own. And so all of a sudden there's, everything becomes a bit stale in terms of that. I have noticed coming into week 10, and that is in my kind of personal feeling as well, is that it is starting to, you know, grind on people a little bit. I guess with the home workouts, we are limited in what we can do and provide, in terms of exercises. However, in terms of can we get people fit? Yeah, of course we can. We don't need to, rewrite the playbook in terms of health and fitness. It's just a question of, keeping it some form of fit attainment, I like to call it. So, we've got the element of fitness, but we've also got the element of entertainment because, people are taking time out in their day. So it's been pretty different across the board, but you get the same people turning up to the same classes, and that would be the same in regards to, whether we be in lockdown or not. So, we get the same core group of people at 7:30 and the same core group of people at 5:30. The only thing that I kind of think now is that, well, maybe do we push the classes out a little bit just so we have a little bit more wiggle room. So a 7 a.m. and a 6 p.m. rather than a 7:30 and a 5:30, that kind of stuff, really.
Yeah, it is interesting to hear how kind of different people are reacting to it. You'll have some people that will love the online, and then some people it just doesn't really work for them at all. And like, let's say your team and yourself, like you said, you're moving to a new gym, so and you've just had a new kid. Congrats! So you're busy.
Yeah.
So what's the
Well,
story
the
with
wife is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're in the gym here hiding. And then what's going on within the team? You're a team of coaches. How are they doing? Like, what's their kind of circumstances? How are they getting on in terms of adapting to, I suppose, not being in the gym themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's been difficult there because we've taken a significant drop in turnover, and we haven't got as many classes going on. The guys have been very flexible in terms of, they've taken a reduction in their hourly. Some coaches can coach more, others can't coach as much. We've got quite a small team anyway, but they're all self-employed. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to furlough them, which is the scheme here in the UK. But I know Lee has his own online training. Neris has got her hands busy with her 2 children, so she's kind of happy and cracking on and what have you. Angie, my other half, has gone off maternity, so that's not too bad, and that's meant that I've taken on a little bit more. And then we've got Clara, who heads up our kids, who seems to be really enjoying and putting a lot of effort into the classes. Not saying that all the coaches are, but one means she's taken on a big chunk of the, in terms of the evening ones, etc. But they're all doing a fantastic job in regards to when they come on, and then doing as best as they can, because it's new for them as well. I don't know how it was like for you, but in terms of my coaching style, and theirs, we've had to adapt to this online world because I'm very, kind of a tactile coach. Sometimes I think my delivery could be lost in translation, and so it's having had to develop that and maybe write a game plan in terms of, best practice. At the early on, I decided to go and see what other gyms were doing, jump in some of the worldwide Zooms, which CrossFit put on, first couple of weeks, just to get some ideas. What are those coaches doing? Is that something we can take away and, implement in ours? Locally, I think everyone's doing a much of a muchness, really. Yeah, within the Cardiff area.
Yeah. That seems to be like that around the place, like in terms of everyone's just kind of offering the live classes and just can't wait to get back to the gym. So let's say on that, do you have anything from the government in terms of when you guys might be able to open, or is there any phased plan or anything like that?
Not for the leisure industry just yet. I mean, you only got murmurs. Some people at the beginning were saying we'd probably be the last ones to come out of lockdown. Now, I think as the economic pinch is starting to be felt, I think people are starting to sort of say, well, how do we get open, or best practice to get open? From my perspective, I want to try and adhere to social distancing, but I do feel that within a small boutique gym environment, that's going to be very difficult. I mean, we've got the UK Active over here, which is basically like a lobbying kind of party for the fitness or the leisure clubs, but the partners that they've got there are Pure Gym, Easy Gym, all the big commercials, where their model will not sit well for not just, let's say, a CrossFit affiliate, but a boutique or an independent model. And the reason being is that we work on very different floor space, very different personnel through the door. So I know Ollie Mansbridge, who is the country manager for CrossFit UK or CrossFit HQ, is doing his part in representing the 629 CrossFit gyms that there are in the UK. I think it's either 629 or 692. Apologies if I've got either one of those mixed up. But in terms of physical locations, the closest competitor then is Pure Gym. Now, obviously, they've got a bigger cut of the market in terms of the personnel, but they're coming in at 200 or something locations. So, that gives specifically CrossFit affiliates, a seat at that table in terms of saying, hey, what these go in, and then boutique gyms can benefit from that. But I digress. In regards to our one, the way I think it would be a successful operation is that, one, we have to have a consideration from the government, and I mean across the board within the fitness industry. So like trying to adhere to 2 meters distance of social distancing at all points within a fitness facility is near on impossible.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I've seen some gyms mark out the boxes, 2 meter boxes. And I'm like, that's cool, that's great. But what happens then if someone wants to go and get equipment? Do we have to go in order to get that? Because, you're trying to, do that. Do the coaches set up the equipment which is needed for those days in those 2 meter boxes, so on and so forth. Numbers. So let's say we open up. Well, we're only going to be operating at, let's say 50% occupancy. So 50% occupancy, yet your outgoings go up to 100%. So the economic fallout from that basically is that you might have to, one, just operate neutral, no profit. You definitely don't want to operate at a loss. The other thing is that you could increase prices. So because you've got a lower number of people coming in and the costs are up, then you just charge more. You just don't know. And I think what we're going to see is certain gyms do one way, certain gyms do another way, and we'll just sort of see what works the best. Personally, I think what they should do is persons per square meter. So you have an allowance, let's say, of X amount of people per 2 square meters in your building at any given time. So then you just manage that. So if you've got 100 square meters, you can have 50 people in there. Approximately.
Yeah.
So and then you'd work that on I don't know if they probably did in Ireland, but when I used to go swimming as a kid, all 30 years ago, I used to have a timetable on a color coordinated band. So they say, hey, purple bands, your time is now up, you got 10 minutes, and so that was your cue to go up to the slides as quickly as you physically can to get on the slides before you had to go out. And I just think that might be a way of managing, let's say, an open commercial gym. Whereas us in a class-based scenario, we get off a little bit easier because, we can manage people coming in, we can manage what they do at certain times, and then we can have them exit at certain times. So it allows us to have the structure that we have allows us to manage it better. But I mean, we just don't know really. I think we'll see what happens when we come out of lockdown.
Yeah, that's a good one about the meters per square. Like, we in Ireland, like we're called phase 5 gyms itself. Even swimming pools are in phase 4 behind us, which people in Ireland just can't understand.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of hearing talks this weekend is that they might reduce it to 1 meter. So again, that might make it a little bit easier for the gyms itself. But that's a good suggestion in terms of meters per square. And then you mentioned there like the commercial gyms and stuff like that. And listen, and you're kind of in the fitness industry for years. You obviously own your own gym. You train competitive athletes around the world. And then obviously you do CrossFit seminars as well. What's your thoughts on the fitness industry in terms of where it might go? Like, let's say the commercial style gyms, or how people might take their training after this pandemic, since obviously healthy, if you're a healthy person in some way or, are not overweight, you obviously have an awful lot better chance of surviving.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be twofold. I think just from the experience that I've had with working some of our clients, I think if people want to train more, okay, I don't necessarily think the gym membership is going to be the be all and end all. So you'll have people maybe wanting to go completely online because they can train more often and they're not tied down to a physical location. I think you'll have some people who are going to dedicate more time in their day to travel to a physical location. And then I think there's this new thing right in the middle, which I think everyone's kind of trying to sort of figure out, where it's going to be a mixture of online and physical location. And I think where that space starts to come on is people buying into brands. I mean, obviously location is going to be specific to say, hey, I want to be able to visit a gym, so I'm going to look at somewhere local, but I want to see if they've got an online offering because I want to be able to follow a program at home. And so I think there's an amalgamation of the two. How that looks, I think, you guys over Perpetua from our conversations to start to look at how that will best operate. It's something that I'm looking at in terms of, I had the only reason why I say this is one particular client, ex-international hockey player, is a director in, it's not a director, a leading partner in a law firm in Cardiff, would love to train every day, but physically can't because of a job and, having 2 children and what have you. So, but since the lockdown, has trained every day at 7:30 religiously because it now fits in with her schedule. And one of the things that she said is that, please, can you continue to offer something like this as we start to come out of the restrictions? And so, that's what's got me prompted, is that, she buys into what we're doing, but she would love to come every day and train, but she can't. So it's just filling that hole. And I think that's the big one really for me, and how that's best operated and how do people manage memberships and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and especially if you've got a good program like yourselves, I see you've got a good physical training facility in terms of your programming, your coaching, and if people can relate that to an online, because obviously there's so much free shit out there, you can get free workouts every day of the week, but they're going to want to follow someone that they trust and they know. So
I know it also gives them the opportunity. So with us having to move locations, we haven't been able to keep every one of our members, but those who are, in all fairness, those who are actually going to suffer the worst with the move are the ones who've really doubled down into the online training that we've been providing. And so, it might be a question whether we offer just a weekend membership so those people can come and connect, be part of the community, and we make a big focal emphasis on the weekend, because I think what we have seen in this lockdown is that communities within the fitness industry are important. And where we was talking before in terms of the different gyms out there, in terms of, let's say, loyalty and people feeling part of something, us CrossFit gyms have been in a beneficial position because people, want to see us do well so that they've got somewhere to come afterwards, but also because they buy into us. Whereas I've got owners and friends within the commercial space. And when I say the commercial space, we're all commercial, but, high volume, cheap membership, there's basically nothing. They've had no feedback. Yes, these people have gone on and, frozen memberships and, what have you, but no interaction, no necessary Instagram support. It's just, these are the kind of people who just maybe, are looking to go around and just try different programs out. Maybe that this lockdown will steer them in the right direction again. I don't know. But you can only hypothesize. Coming out the other end, you just don't know. I mean, it depends how leveraged some of the gyms are. If I'm being perfectly honest, it's if you've got a big outgoing, you need to get that back up and running as quickly as possible. Whereas some other gyms that maybe have got smaller debts behind them or have no debt behind them can start to be a little bit more flexible, picky and choosy about what they do.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Interesting to see what happens in the UK as well, obviously, because you've got so many CrossFit gyms over there. You guys should be, and you got such a strong voice. It's amazing to hear how many gyms you have compared to Pure Gym and everything like that. So.
Yeah, that is, it's a good thing, in terms of exposure. It's bigger than, and those are the kind of numbers we need to see because it encourages us. We are doing something, fairly significant within the fitness industry. I mean, Pure Gym are still going to have the lion's share of everything just through membership numbers, so you could probably get, let's say, 20, maybe 200 of those CrossFit gyms, maybe in, 10, pure gym locations just because of sheer numbers of people. So it just depends on what everyone's going to be looking at and what have you. But we've put our flag up. We haven't really changed focus in terms of a group. We're doing this for health, not doing it for massive commercial gain, like something like a pure gym, which has got venture capitalism behind it and what have you. And we're independent, so we have that face-to-face quality with the people that come, and the relationships that we have, let's say on average with those 200 people, outweighs the relationship the GM of a pure gym would have with 4,000 or 5,000 people. So I think that's, maybe if people want to have that more hands-on feel, then it's there and available to them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, things look like, hopefully things might look up for you guys in a couple of weeks in that new facility. Andy, best of luck with that, especially in terms of the new gym. Hope that goes really well. Just to kind of finish off, as I mentioned, you trained obviously multiple teams and individuals to regionals and games, a podium as a games person last year. What's your thoughts on the changes to the CrossFit Games this year in terms of like COVID-19, so going to top 20 in the open? Like, what's your kind of thoughts on that in terms of, like, let's say, people you train?
So in the grand scheme of things, the CrossFit Games is always to find the 2 fittest people in any given circumstances. With the CrossFit Games at this moment in time, still going ahead in August, they will crown the 2 fittest people in those given circumstances. I think with, just in terms of individual, with Matt and Tia actually being on site and training in America, the 2 current incumbent number ones, it's probably I don't want to say it's an easier ride, because it's not easier, but it's more comfortable. I.e., they don't have to maybe go through quarantine procedures, X, Y, and Z. With athletes further afield, then there's international rules which have to be adhered to. And, at the moment in time, we can only hypothesize that, travel bans are going to be lifted. And when they are lifted, like in the UK, anyone coming into the UK must do a 2-week quarantine. I mean, so people have got to take that into account. Where do they get quarantined? How much does that cost? So on and so forth. So, those are the only thing, maybe the only things. With it being cut, look, CrossFit want to put the games on. They have the capacity to do it with Aromas. They have the capacity to keep it small, but still provide a good spectacle. And what do I mean by that is that, it can be televised. It's a shame that, friends and family members might be able to go there, but they can do more or less what they've done in Madison, but just on a smaller scale. So I think that they've got that covered. Yes, it's hard for the national champs, let's say, for people who are making it there, but let's not forget that only got introduced last year. Okay. And so it's a question of, hey, worldwide events can't, prevent that from happening. You will have your opportunity. You'll just have to go through the protocol again. Likewise with, the masters or the age group, it is a shame, but unfortunately these are the events that, that have happened, and that's what's come on, because the CrossFit Games, when it's an original format, was for individuals. And it was just for men, one male, one female. And so they've just gone back to their roots in regards to that. It's tough, but, you've got to think about the Olympics as being binned. And, there's people in a 4-year training cycle that might not have the opportunity to do that. So when you put that into comparison, it is sport. But it's great that they've decided to try and facilitate it as best they can. Whether or not it materializes, let's say we have another spike or, in certain countries, or, we just don't know, but it's going to be put down at that this was the format for 2020. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, if you have a look at the way the top 20 is layered in the men's division, okay, even though I don't, not taking any credit away from anyone, but Matt is fairly dominant. There's a lot more American or North American based athletes, so therefore there isn't going to necessarily be someone who might not be there that should be there. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas in the females, it is very, very diverse in terms of the countries. So then you might not necessarily see all those athletes coming across just because of, let's say, travel restrictions or government legislation, that kind of thing. So that might be a little bit diluted, maybe. As far as I can see, or what's been publicized, is that everyone's accepted their invites anyway. So it should make, if they get there, it should make for some good competition.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be so interesting as well. No spectators, no coaches and stuff like that. Like, you won't get to go over, no?
I'm not 100% sure. So it all depends on, nothing's been released more than what's out in public view at the moment. Having spoken to Jamie in regards to the Rogue Invitational, we didn't get, there wasn't an email sent out until about 10 days ago, telling them the format, what times that the time zones they'll need to be in, and the sort of protocols with that. But it's just a different way of doing it. I guess one of the benefits of having done or CrossFit doing the Open is that they've got experience of online competitions anyway. So that's pretty cool. And Rogue is test driving it their way of doing it as well. In terms of going back to Aramas, they've done it before, so they can facilitate that.
It's nothing really new for them, is it?
No, it's not. It's nothing new for them, but it's just different from the athlete's perspective. Hopefully, it gives all those athletes the fire that they need to really come back and kick the arse out of it in the Open in October, and possibly take the whole ability of all those athletes up a notch. Because it's the level of athlete does differ, depending on the exposure to CrossFit and what athletic background they have. But that, given those athletes the fire in their belly and more opportunity to train, might just give us a big sort of quantum leap shift in terms of bringing the athletes lower down on the leaderboard a little bit higher up.
Yeah. Interesting one, actually. On that one, I didn't even think about that. And then finally, you said, you're training Jamie. She's in Abu Dhabi, and you've got other athletes around the world as well. What's it like training them? Because let's say some of them might have access to gyms, some of them mightn't. And then programming might be different. And obviously, you're trying to get them ready for the actual games, in terms of which has all types of events, whether it's like swimming, running, and everything like that. What's that been like as a coach for yourself to try and program?
I guess it's just having an understanding of what is at an athlete's disposal and what is the realistic goal at this moment in time. I'm fairly, I don't want to say pessimistic, it's not the word, but I'm a realist, So, working with Jamie's got the Rogue Invitational coming up, and she's got the CrossFit Games coming up, guaranteed, just because of everything, she's qualified for both. So we have to do the best we can with what we've got. And now she's lucky that she's got some home gym equipment. It's not a fully loaded gym, and plus it's outside. So you can imagine being in Abu Dhabi, training at midday is not exactly optimal to performance at 50 degrees of heat. So, we're working around, shifting times, working indoor. So whereas, something as simple as, let's just take a really simple exercise, Helen, okay? We've got, you've got running outdoors, you've got a kettlebell, and you've got a pull-up bar. But, fundamentally what might happen is if that pull-up bar and that kettlebell's in the sun for 5 seconds too long, you've got to pick it up and you burn your hands, and running in 50-degree heat. So what we find, or with Jamie's scenario sometimes, is that we might do a big block of cardio work indoors in the air conditioning, and then she runs out, does a big block, so it just changes bits and pieces like that up. I started working with Kelly Freel at the tail end of last year, and so she qualified second in the age group qualifiers to go into the 40 to 45 category. Now, obviously, we were gearing towards training for the games, but we've now come to the end of that block. And so it's like, right, what are we doing? We're reassessing what you have at your disposal, and we just work around it like that. So it only just changes the goal and the outcome. But, for some athletes, it might be just, hey, look, let's just start looking at doing your running. Let's just get some running in underneath, under the belt, do a lot more of that. And then we can always try and pick back up once the gyms start opening. Don't stress. You love fitness. You'll stay fit. Yes, it might be a little bit of a slower journey if you haven't got access to heavy load, etc. Trying to get back to those strength numbers. But it is going to happen, and so it's just trying to, take everything with a pinch of salt and just get there,
Yeah, get it done and adapt, exactly.
Yeah. What's your training like?
It's better than ever, actually, to be honest, because I've got so much more time in the gym. So it's much better. Yeah, like when I'm actually in the gym still every day. So and no classes, not meeting any clients anymore and stuff like that. So it's actually freed up. It's actually pretty good. But
so you're living the life of a professional athlete.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I'm back. This is the best training I've done in years. But listen, Andy, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Owen.